Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have a very interesting bit of news to get straight away into. I would say exciting, and that is a brand new list of balance changes. In my opinion, a list of balance changes can make the game feel completely new, almost like a brand new update, so very excited. And before we get into them, all of these changes will be live next week sometime, so that's going to be coming with a maintenance break, which I'm assuming is going to be coming with a few different other bug fixes and things along those lines, which I think is definitely needed. So we're going to rock through all of these. I'm going to let you guys know some of my opinions on all of this. I've been a bit more competitive with this update, been playing a little bit more strategic with ranked and stuff like that. So I would say this meta I have a pretty dang good grasp on here, just playing the game a lot more than usual. But why don't we get straight away into it? I want to start off with the nerfs and probably one of the most impactful. We have a nerf to Larry and Lori, definitely the best lobber in the game, and he's been the best lobber in the game since he's been released. It's pretty dang wild. The very first nerf is actually incredibly interesting, and that is an unload speed nerf, so he doesn't shoot as fast as he once did. It is cut in half, so 300 to 150. Those metrics are a little bit wonky. It's hard to put that conceptually, but just think half the unload speed there for Larry and Lori. Next up, Larry and Lori are getting a nerf to the fallback gadget from 33% healing to 25. Two other huge ones as well. Lori is getting a nerf to his spread damage. They call it like a shotgun damage, half reduced as well, from 300 damage to 150. And that is not all when it comes to this mechanic. He is getting a 50% decrease to his supercharge rate from this shotgun damage as well. A huge nerf to his bot, and I think definitely warranted. This is definitely one of the best spawners, if not the best spawner in the entire game. Such a pest, dude. But that's it for Larry and Lori. They definitely got hit pretty dang hard, but I think it's warranted. I'm kind of I'm over this brawler. He's been very good for a very long time, and I think the nerfs are definitely deserving. So let me know what you guys are thinking about Larry and Lori. I think it's deserved. Moving along to another brawler that have some standing in this meta for quite some time, we have Pearl getting a nerf as well. Not as crazy as Larry and Lori, but in my opinion, a well-needed nerf to her overcooked gadget. It is going from 33% damage to 25% damage increase for that 3 seconds. Just a basic damage nerf. I feel like this was kind of like the meta in certain knockout maps where you just cook up your charge up bar and then you activate the gadget, burn them down really quickly. You have to admit, this gadget did a lot of damage, and it still is going to do quite a bit of damage at 25% extra damage there. So I don't think it's going to hit her incredibly hard. I think she's still going to be a solid pick in the meta, but yeah, I think a well-needed nerf here for Pearl. Rounding the corner, a nerf to a sharpshooter, and I would say well-deserved as well. Piper, dude. This is kind of a mixed bag. I feel like a lot of people either are very adamant that, you know, a sharpshooter, much like Piper, takes a lot of skill to play. So if you don't play her good, she can't carry like some of the other broken brawlers. But then I see people absolutely despising playing against Piper, saying she's one of the most broken brawlers in the entire game, which she's been good for a while now, I will admit. In the right hands, Piper can carry a game like crazy. And if that starts to happen, and I've been seeing tier lists and leaderboards and things along those lines, Piper is probably like top 5, top 10 at the minute, so definitely very good. So she's getting a slight nerf, nothing crazy, but it's to her HP from base 2,400 to 2,300. Again, nothing crazy at all. So at maxed power level 11, she's at 4,800 HP. But then rounding the corner to our final nerf here on the list, and I would say also quite deserving, we are going to be getting a nerf to Colette. This one, not crazy. She's definitely very good in the meta right now, but I would say one of the biggest aspects of her character that's carrying her right now is her hypercharge and how easy it is to get it. The specific nerf is to her hypercharge recharge rate. It is going from 40% to 30%, so a 10% nerf to the charge rate to her hypercharge. One thing I'm very happy about is that they did not touch her super recharge rate. One of the mechanics that I love the most about Colette, it just feels nice that you know all the time it's going to take 4 shots to get your super charged up, right? It's that perfect 25% every single time you hit someone with your attack. It just feels good, and I do think the reason why Colette is incredibly broken is because of the hypercharge. She is a good brawler and has been even without the hypercharge, but I feel like she is balanced. She's good on like specific maps like heist and stuff like that, but she really got overboard when it came to the hypercharge, right? So there's your final nerf, Colette getting hit with it as well. Then rounding the corner to the buffs, the one that I wanted to start off with here in the beginning is another, what would you call it, a sharpshooter. B is getting a buff quite similar to the Piper buff, maybe indirectly. The BrawlStar's dev team is saying, hey, maybe we need a little shift in the trajectory of the sharpshooters here in the meta, because B ended up getting a health buff from 2,400 to 2,500. Where Piper and B both had the same exact HP before, B is a bit more tanky now by 200 HP, sitting at 5,000. Now you may be thinking, Ray, what's the point of just buffing a character's HP by 100? It's not going to do squat. You'll be surprised. I've seen in my time playing Brawl Stars, the smallest tweaks to a brawler's HP change so much, making them incredibly broken in this game. HP is something not to underwrite, and I think it's very important for sharpshooters as well. So, hey man, we've seen metas where B has been very OP. We'll see if this is going to be coming back here this time around in this brand new meta. Honestly, kind of nervous. She could be very hard to play against. But then how about rounding the corner to a buff that I'm actually very surprised and very excited about. Definitely was not expecting Sam to get a buff here. We're getting two buffs to Sam, maybe a resurgence for this character in that tank area in the meta. But the very first buff is to his super damage, the Knuckle Busters. His super is getting a 200 damage increase at level 1 from 1,200 to 1,400. So when maxed out, he's dealing 2,800 per super hit, which ain't bad, man. And then the other change is he's getting a slight supercharge rate increase when he hits someone with these Knuckle Busters. So the charge coming back from it is a bit more substantial. So if you hit multiple people, this is going to be some crazy recharging here. Maybe some boomerang action going on where you throw it out, bring it back in. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, looking forward to it. Sam has been one of my favorite characters. One of the funnest things in this game is mobility. Having a character with a lot of movement speed where you can dodge and stuff like that is very fun. And I think Sam has that potential. He obviously is a character with a lot of movement speed and a tank in this game, which I enjoy tanks. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's a fun character conceptually. So hopefully he does a bit better in the meta here moving forward. Next up, moving along, and I'm a little bit nervous, ladies and gentlemen, we have a buff to Max, another character that has been very good in past metas, but I think has been quite bad for quite some time. So I think getting a buff coming her way is pretty dang deserving, but the buff is to her HP. She is getting a 300 HP increase from 3,000 to 3,300 at power level 11 at 6,600. I think honestly that's the biggest downfall of her character, is not being able to stay in there as like a mid, where a lot of the time she's that brute force right up front where she's got to bob and weave, take a lot of damage. And one thing that's very important for Max is to constantly be shooting, right? Always busting up that chip damage, so you don't really have a lot of room to heal up. So any HP given to Max is very important. So I think a very well deserved buff here for Max, and I'm assuming she should be quite good in the meta moving forward with a buff like this. Oh boy, another brawler that has been very dominant in past metas. We have a buff to Carl, and that is his pickaxe damage. We're talking about his basic attack damage here, ladies and gentlemen, from 660 per basic attack to 740 when maxed out, 1,480 per pickaxe. So if you line it up perfectly, you can hit that twice and get that damage times 2. You know what I'm saying? Carl has been pretty dang bad for a while now, I would say, but I cannot understate this. I'm a little bit nervous about this. Carl, for some strange reason, is historically very up and down when it comes to his balance changes. Either he is very bad or he is incredibly broken. And I've seen this, him being incredibly broken with the most mundane changes, like a 100 HP increase, like something small, like a tiny little supercharge rate increase. He's bam, right at the top of the leaderboard once again. I think it just comes down to his design. He is a well-balanced brawler. He's got good HP, good damage output when his attack is there, good mobility with his gadget and super, where if you tweak something, he is just wild. And this is a very substantial damage increase, so I got a feeling Carl could be pretty dang good here in the meta moving forward. A little bit nervous if you ask me. Moving around here to Poco, our next buff recipient, and he's getting 2 increases here, both to his gadgets. The very first one is pretty dang substantial. Poco is getting a buff to his tuning fork HP increase. Tuning fork 740 HP per second for 5 seconds. Not bad, dude. That's a lot of HP increase if you ask me. And then the other increase is to the opposite gadget, tuning fork. This gadget, I swear, rarely gets used, but the amount of immunity per second given is going to be doubled from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. So, bro, someone smacks you with a Frank Super, you're all stunned up. You can hit that and it will get rid of that immunity. One of the more important use cases for protective tunes is whether or not Crow is really dominant in the meta with that slow gadget. This was a great counter to that gadget in the past. You whip out that protective tunes, protects your teammates, unslows more than a couple of you. It's really, really good value. Moving on to another buff, we have Bonnie here. Again, been a while since Bonnie has been pretty dang good, but definitely a brawler that's been wildly good in the past as well. And Bonnie is getting 2 different buffs too. She's getting an attack increase from 1000 to 1120 at power level 1. So at power level 11, she's going to be dealing 2240. Any basic attack increase is going to go a long way with these characters. But then she also got a super charge rate increase, which you can see here. Each basic attack is charging up more than half of the super here with an attack. So not bad, dude. Not bad at all. And then our final change on this balance change list and the final buff today is going to be going to one that I'm very, very excited for. One of my favorite brawlers in this game to play with, Byron. His damage and healing is going to be increased from 340 to 380. So 760 when maxed out per heal tick or damage tick, right? I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Byron. He hits like both those boxes for me and for a lot of people out there where, you know, if you enjoy playing a supportive character, healing up your teammates, keeping them in the fight in a clutch scenario, you can get that with like a great Poco Super. Or if you like being aggro, a long range sharpshooter, dude, Byron's got both things for you. If you want to be that clutch support or that clutch damage dealer, he's there for you, and he's very, very fun, and I'm very much so looking forward to seeing maybe a good Byron meta here moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. But there you have it, everyone. A very, very quickly edited video for all of you guys so you can get the info as fast as possible. Very much so looking forward to all the changes coming to the game. Like I said before, or maybe I didn't say it, but balance changes really make the game feel fresh. Sometimes if a good list of balance changes come out, it feels like a completely different game, almost like a new update. So very excited to see what this does here moving forward in ranked and in just normal trophy pushing meta craziness. But yeah, everyone, make sure to let me know what you're thinking. Appreciate you for watching. We'll be talking super soon. Adios and take care.